the aim today is to ask ourselves what psychoanalysis in the age of neurobiological knowledge. And for that, we need a very radical, subversive reading of Lacan, but also to investigate, to bring psychoanalysis into the world. I believe we need to be able to speak with current theories, with issues of identity. And if we slip back to a project where maybe neuroscience would provide explanations, then we might discover some important things on that side, but we are absolutely leaving what is most subversive about psychoanalysis out. Hypothesis of the unconscious is structured like a language. The unconscious is the discourse of the other. The subject only exists in the field, in relation to the field of the other. The idea of mixing of otherness, we're going to start looking at fundamental concepts that we need to have a different perspective of in order to be subversive with psychoanalysis. So concepts of time, concepts of space, matter, energy, those are concepts that we can't escape if we want to look at psychoanalysis with a completely different reasoning and logic from a biology reasoning and a neuroscientific reasoning. And this might sound too fast because you might be wondering, well, psychoanalysis is not biological. Psychoanalysis is not neuroscientific. And I'm not even talking about neuropsychoanalysis, which is its own thing. But I see quite often a logic going on in psychoanalysis where, although the field tries its best not to slip back into biology, it does. It has a chronological, linear thinking of maturity, of development, which are logics that it's a reasoning that biology works with in some cases and neuroscience works with in some cases. There's even, to me, some kind of vitalism, which is not exactly biology, but we'll see what happens. This is the first video. Let's see the reaction. Let's see people commenting if they want to go further into a subject or if maybe just won't go anywhere. So we can try to be more specific about things. Let's start big, and then we can go more delicately into every aspect. Let's start a conversation looking at fundamental aspects we need to rethink in order to have a more the more subversive of Lacan's teaching and to have a discipline that is separate, that deals with different things than any other. Not only by saying it, but by having clear foundations that it deals with different things. And so let's look at time. It is conceived as evolutive. Time leads us from childhood to adulthood, and therefore maturity. The more mature, the better. Maturity is an autonomous and independent state of being. One is born alienated, and the goal is to free oneself from that alienation. Let's look at this conception of time. We work with the concept of circular time, an anterior future. As a consequence, the biological body has no logical or chronological antecedents in relation to the symbolic order. The same applies to the relation between anticipation and retraction, alienation and separation. S1 and S2. This conception of time requires the admission of a big bang of language and discourse. The interesting proposition. Space. It is conceived as a bag, as being made of what is external or internal to the body. This is absolutely amazing for you all who want to think of a politically engaged psychoanalysis. The internal is one's own good ego, and the external opposes the ego. The drives and jouissance are internal. What does it mean to be internal in that sense? It's individualistic, and it gives us a biological margin. Space, let's look at space, another definition. In the psychoanalytic clinic, we work with a topological space. We think of it as a bidimensional, surface-like space. Within this space, the difference between internal and external is not always operative. The grounding of this space is the hole, the gap, created by the signifying articulation in the field of the other with a capital A. Now, let's look at matter. It is the substance that constitutes us since our birth, our biology. Given what it is, it has an essence. It releases a depth drive, a libido, and jouissance in different quantities, depending on each individual. It's not a grammar that I think for you, if you're inserted in psychoanalytical circles, that you will think it's never heard this before. We conceive the matter of psychoanalysis as a materialism of language and its terms. It is unsubstantial, incorporeal, non-natural, invisible, and intangible. It has a logical consistency. We posit and we work with it as a text, both in the sense of being an articulation of signifiers S1, S2, and a function of the latter. Finally, let's look at energy. It is the set of psychic forces, effects, quantified and mixed according to the workings of the anatomical body. They are the vital and death-like forces we are born and live with. Energy. In psychoanalysis and in everything pertaining to the issue concerning the subject, we substitute biological energy and physical forces by the notion of value equality, understood as political economy, whose appreciation depends on factors such as those emerged from the discourse link, language, society, and culture, and on the admission of the existence of aleatory factors in every particular, not singular, history. There were different conceptions of time, matter, energy, space, but the initial conditions for us to think a different psychoanalysis. So thanks for watching this far.